Hey homies, come on into the homie home. I say get comfy, grab a plate, and take a toke, for we're going to be not only going over my favorite horror game and its remake, but also where the series has been for the last little bit and what to expect and hope for in the future. My name is Antonio, aka the big homie himself, and welcome to Silent Hill 2. Now, if you really don't feel like sitting through however long this video is and just want to know the answer to my own question, yes, it does, and then some. Okay, so for everyone that hasn't clicked on to the next crisis averting background video, let's talk some Silent Hill. Have you played a horror game that fundamentally changes your views on horror media as a whole and can't stop but watch countless lore and gameplay videos? My friends and family, I would call that a hyperfixation. And one of mine as a child was retro gaming hardcore. I remember watching on the family computer the likes of AVGN, Super Gaming Bros, and Pat the NES Punk, just to name a few. Along with that, would find your browser emulators for your Marios and Castlevanias, praying not to get any viruses. One of my favorite parts with that obsession, though, was that me and my father would go out to this big flea market about 20-ish minutes away, and I would always be on the lookout for video games and Nerf guns, you know. Love them to this day. On one particularly sunny day, we were looking through one of our favorite sellers' booths, and under a glass door was a nice black label, not even sun-faded copy of Silent Hill 2 for the PS2. And guess for how much? Just guess. You know, $40? Nah. $30? $20. I'm just going to put right here or right here the current pricing on pricesharing.com for a complete copy of Silent Hill 2 Black Label on the PS2. God, we miss those prices. But even as a child, I was fairly familiar with not only the game itself, but the series up to that point as a whole and the reputation that held in the gaming community. So I instantly asked my dad if he could purchase it, and that day, I got a game that would shape my taste up to and through today. And for the next couple years, I barely touched it. Only slightly embarrassed to admit that now as a 21-year-old, just slightly. Admittedly, and unfortunately, I don't remember when I first fully played through the game or how it really went. But I'm sure I died a few times and still shat my pants seeing Pyramid Head casually in the prison area myself for the first time. And horror media, for the longest time, was an interest I kept to myself and in the back burner of my mind. From seeing Child's Play on TV when I was like 7 or 8, to unfortunately playing the shit out of Phasmophobia in recent times. The hate video is coming one day. And just having all this unfiltered internet access, seeing all these NSFW videos, images, reading up all on the creepypastas, you know, it was a lot of horror, a lot of good times, some bad, but overall, it shapes who I am today. But strangely, however, I never really developed any particular or serious opinions on what I actually wanted and enjoyed in the horror that I consumed for the longest time, as I had other things to focus up on growing up, unfortunately. But saying all this, I do believe that I experienced Silent Hill 2 at the perfect point of my life, right when I was starting to accept my real curiosity with the medium and life as a whole, and going through a lot of stuff that opened my eyes more to the themes and ideologies behind everything. And I am just really grateful that my main choice of that content was Silent Hill. And also Resident Evil. I'm not gonna lie here. And if I had to describe the experience of going through Silent Hill 2 in 2 words, they would be despair and acceptance. And hopefully by the time I'm done yapping about this game, you'll understand why that I say so. And maybe find your own words for it. Hey guys, story time. Y'all ready? Y'all got some food? Fuck it. Let's do this thing. James starts off by looking into a mirror. In that mirror is just him, of course, but Nothing feels quite right. The bathroom he finds himself in is quite decrepit. Cracks on the glass and walls. It looks pretty damp. And while just looking around, I think we can all imagine the combination of smells that surrounds him, engulfs him even. And by the tone of his voice and expression of his face, there's a sense of confusion and anxiety that the music beautifully complements in order to build this wonderful atmosphere. Well, wonderfully eerie per se. And as he leaves, he looks out upon the trees and a fogged over lake. James stands and explains his reason for coming to Silent Hill, being to supposedly find his dead wife in their special place.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. A dead person can't write a letter. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then, why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Does she mean the park on the lake? We spent the whole day there. Just the two of us, staring at the water. Could Mary really be there? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
He then walks over to his nearby car and finds a map of the town, and worryingly, there's a blocked off tunnel. However, there's a staircase close by that James can descend in order to make his way into this seemingly troubled town. Running through the path, he hears many noises that raise the hairs on the back of his neck. Eventually, he wanders upon a well, which seems to contain a red napkin that makes James, become me scrolling through reels at 3 a.m. And that is the first of many save points on this adventure. Eventually, he'll find himself at a graveyard where he meets a dark-haired woman named Angela Orozco, my favorite character for reasons that will be discussed. James asks her for directions towards the town, and after talking a bit and seeing that he isn't worried really what could be in the town, she says that she is looking for a mama, points him on his way, and as he leaves, he gives his hopes and condolences. Leaving Angela be, James runs his way into the streets of the town, and upon reaching the intersection of Lindsay and Sanders, he notices large streaks of blood, seeming like someone or something was being dragged to the north, and both being very white and having no idea where else he should really go, he decides to follow the trail. Following the various streaks Snapchat style, collecting a couple of health drinks and saving in the enclosed area, you find yourself in front of a boarded up tunnel with just enough of a gap to fit himself through. Looking around, he finds and takes a radio that is just spewing static out of its speakers. Then, eerily stumbling out of the darkness, a fleshy monster that seems to have its arms bonded to itself, almost like a straitjacket called a lying figure appears. James grabs a nearby wooden plank with his nail. James grabs a nearby wooden plank with nails sticking out of it, and uses it to beat the monster's ass to the concrete while avoiding its freaky acid spitting attack. Make sure he kicks the monsters after knocking him down, because like that X, they're just gonna keep coming back. Anyways, once it's all done, he leaves the tunnel and makes his way back down to Lynchy Street, where there's a few more victims, lying figures that are wandering the roads. Going his way, he gets north of the Katz and Lindsay intersection. There, he finds a stone monument that is some cool semi-deep lore, but it's also a perfect opportunity to have a Mad Lib session with a homie or two. And before I go on, for the few people that are super serious about this game, listen, I'm gonna take the piss out of this because I genuinely love this game. I've loved this game for a long time, and we're just here to have fun, and I'm gonna enjoy every fucking moment of it. After seeing a block street or two, the liker run into a camper van on Saul with a note on the couch reading, "I'll wait at Bar Neely's." So James, deciding to listen to a random ass sticky note, makes his way to try to feel something other than crippling despair over his supposedly dead wife. Finding the front door locked and a side door surprisingly unlocked, someone for sure is getting robbed or digged down after hours. Freaky. Inside is a map with some places marked, and James copies a question mark located at the north end of Martin Street, and while leaving, notices a frankly fucking creepy message on the paper-boarded window. Reaching the end of Martin, James comes across a corpse sitting across the fence line with the after examining Woodside apartment gate key in his pocket, so he swipes that shit and runs off to said apartments. As he gets closer and closer, he murks a good few monsters and discovers some memos scattered on Neely with some useful tips on doing such. Entering through the double doors on the left will be the apartment building map, and on the right will be a save point. Going up the staircase and through to the second floor hallway, he sees that, well, actually he doesn't because it's so fucking dark. I digress. There is a laundry room close by with some garbage he takes note of being stuck in the chute. Running down the halls, he finds the door to room 205 and decides to enter without knocking. How rude. Inside, an ominous mannequin with a bright flashlight, and getting a closer look, James seems to recognize the clothes displayed on. When grabbing the flashlight, what he assumes to be a normal mannequin suddenly wakes up and moves towards him, filling his legs that are where its whole upper half should be. Well, at least James has a flashlight, and after kicking its ass, you're free to explore the rest of the floor for supplies and whatnot. Eventually, after checking many locked doors, he heads up the stairs to the third floor, and trying to go east only leads to a set of metal bars. When James looks down, he notices a key that seems to be just in reach of if he tried to reach hard enough. But just when he had it, a little shithead girl we later find to be named Laura kicks his key away and curb stomps his hand and runs her bitch ass off into the darkness. Putting his burning rage aside, James scurries away to room 301 and steals the handgun out of the local crackhead's cart. How American. Making his way back down to 208, he hears a loud static, and as he approaches the TV, James realizes that in the chair is a dead man, and the TV having blood on it is leaving some unanswered questions about his demise. Honestly, I think he just finished Game of Thrones. God, he's late. James, noticing something shiny in the light like a 2000s white girl, grabs the room 202 key. Heading down the door next to it, he takes note of a grandfather clock with a riddle on the side and hurries to room 202. Once inside, he takes a health drink, enters the unnerving butterfly room, and shoves his arm right in that hole like a furry after party, and retrieves the clock key. Yummy. Returning to room 208, James rereads the clues on the grandfather clock, puts the hands at the right time, and pushes it to the side, entering the hole behind. Now in room 209, James stares up at another red napkin and proceeds through the front door. Passing through the hallway, he heads up to the third floor and finds himself unfortunately in room 307. Very unfortunately. It gets even more trauma as he is seemingly spared by the terrifying monster. Finally, James sees the keys kicked away earlier by that little bitch and scurries off to rummage through room 303. He heads down the stairwell and enters the first floor. In front of 107, he takes a pack of canned juice since he do be thirsty. Well, actually, James decides to throw that rotten shit out in the garbage chute from earlier. That just so happened to have an important item fall out, the old man coin. And a news article about someone who totally won't come back later in the series. I mean, especially as a main villain, right? Totally. Never. Assuming you've been smart and been looting every room you enter, James enters the courtyard and finds himself at the edge of a pool infested with a few lying figures. He then pulls out the blicky, mows them down, nabs the snake coin, leaving the room and entering the north wing. James walks through the hallways to room 101 and is subjected to the sounds of reverse eating and the sight of a dead man in the kitchen. In the bathroom, he meets quite a peculiar man named Eddie Dombrowski, vomiting his guts out. They have a quick conversation with a couple highlights. He is for sure not friends with that red pyramid thing. He did not kill the man in the kitchen, and he too can see the monsters around and attacking James. At this point, James has explored the apartments and found all he could, which unfortunately didn't include Mary. He takes his burning hip swinging ass self to the fire escape on the second floor, which doesn't actually lead to a real fire escape, but instead to a gap leading to the other building through an apartment window? James for sure is taking notes for an OSHA report as he crosses the gap and is now in the Blue Creek apartments. Looking around and heading into the bathroom, James notices the toilet and something in that thick brown sludge festering within intrigues him, and being as fucking disgusting as possible, actually sticks his bare-handed arm deep into that shit and pulls out a wallet. Anything with a bag, I guess. You know, and it contains a somehow readable memo with arrows and numbers. Walking in shame to the living room, he sees a safe that the memo seemingly has the combination to, and unlocks and opens the hoe, and inside, a few box of bullets, which, yeah, I think it's worth the shit arm. Making his way out and wandering into the halls, he reads the note on the door of room 209 saying that the key is in an apartment near the first floor stairwell. He runs towards the glowing exit sign and, entering said stairwell, finds a map of the west apartment building and heads his way down and into the first floor hallway. He looks around and finds that only 2 doors are open, one containing a desk that we can't do much with yet, and the other with another strikingly white door inside. Entering the white door in room 209, James finds himself in a room with Angela, and they more properly introduce themselves to each other. And in the end, she gives him her knife and leaves the room. A bit confused after everything, James nabs the prisoner coin on the nightstand and takes it back to room 105, now having all the necessary coins. After spending an embarrassing amount of time figuring out the coin puzzle, he opens up the desk and acquires the Lynn house key. Examining further reveals it to be the key to room 209. Now heading back up to the second floor and into said room, James finds there not to be much in the room, except for a balcony that leads into room 208. In the bedroom, he grabs the apartment's stairwell key from the bed and yet again stares into the deep red party napkin on the wall. He runs inside room 209 and rushes towards the stairway and to hopefully get out of this hellish mess. Inside, James finds Pyramid Head having his way with the corpse of a mannequin. Shit. And the door mysteriously locking behind him. Fuck. Forcing a boss battle? In all reality, it's an endurance test that is shortened by James's quick trigger finger. After a few minutes of walking around and trying to cut James in half, Pyramid Head decides to go for a good deep dip in a watery staircase to cool off. And unfortunately, we too must join him once the water level falls. Finally, he is free from the apartments. And once again, James comes upon Laura sitting on a brick wall, where, after a little banter, she explodes, saying, "You didn't love Mary anyway!" And he just wonders how the hell she knows Mary's name. And she runs out of sight before anything can be explained. Ugh. After all that shit, he makes his way down the path and eventually, finally, reaches Rosewater Park. Walking along the waterfront, James comes along a woman who suspiciously and seductively resembles Mary, talking to whom reveals her name to be Maria, and after a minute, they form an idea that maybe the Lakeview Hotel was a special place after all. Now with her in tow, they set off west and in doing so, come across a Texon gas station with a car in its parking lot, containing a convenient-ass steel pipe for James to pipe down the creatures of this spooky-ass town. Unfortunately, upon passing the Historical Society, the bridge do be brokey, but thankfully there is a map near a corpse with some places marked, but importantly, Pete's Bowl-O-Rama is circled. With a new hope and destination, they run to and reach Pete's, and Maria weirdly decides to stay behind because simply, she hates bowling. And honestly, that's one thing I can definitely agree with Maria. Probably the only thing at this moment. James enters and overhears a conversation between Eddie and Laura, seemingly discussing some crime that Eddie committed before that he ran from, and believes no one would forgive him for, no matter if he said sorry or not. James soon after walks in. Laura seemingly left already, and as he's about to speak with Eddie, they both notice a bowling ball rolling towards them, and they see her leave. James is about to follow her when he notices that Eddie doesn't even get up, and he scolds him about just sitting and eating pizza when the town is full of monsters, and not giving two shits about the little girl running off into said town. Running out into the parking lot, he finds Maria gone and starts heading off, when she runs back panting, telling him the direction that Laura went, and they both go to find her. They get to a small alleyway behind the rear parking lot, and clearly it's too fucking small for them to squeeze their way through. Fortunately though, Maria knows a way around it and points to a metal door they passed, but James finds it locked. However, Maria pushes him to the side and decides to give James a bit of a show, pulling a couple keys out for some places before unlocking and going through said door. Walking in, it's very obvious to James that this is a strip club named Heaven's Night, and after relaxing for a moment, they make their way out through the front door, and heading down the street, they soon see Laura running into a building that turns out to be the Brookhaven Hospital. Yikes. Yikes. Entering the lobby, James takes a map and enters the reception office, finding another door that contains the purple bowl key and leaves for the second floor. Once there, he encounters a new monster named the Bubblehead Nurses, and yes, I would. Bashing his head in, he continues into the locker room, fucking perv, taking a bent needle out of a teddy bear for whatever tweaker-ass reason. Looking around, he sees an open locker with a big old shotgun, which, thinking about it, is kind of disturbing, man. Leaving the women's, he goes into the men's locker room and only finds a bloody lab coat with the examination room key in the front pocket. Now heading back downstairs, they enter the examination room, which just has another door that leads to the doctor's lounge you couldn't reach earlier. On the whiteboard, there is a memo stating the code for the third floor patient wing, and with that knowledge, they leave through the door by said whiteboard. They get back up to the second floor and first enter examination room 3, finding a typewriter with a code typed out that James remembers for later. They walk to M2 and take the lapis eye key, and in the neighboring room, there's some loot and a nurse I swear to God I could fix. After looting a couple more rooms, they make their way up to the third floor and enter the code from the doctor's lounge into the keypad. Once entering the wing, they walk to room S3 where, thankfully, Maria seems to not feel too well and lays down to rest for the next little bit. Before leaving her ass behind, he makes sure to nab the roof key and eternally sighs in relief. He now heads back into the employee wing and runs up the stairs to the roof, dark and with a menacing vibe for some reason. James finds that he cannot re-enter through the door he just came from. Fuck, man, looking at the door, he hears a heavy metal scraping behind him, and the fence beside him seems like it can give way and fall with even just the slightest push on it. Suddenly, Pyramid Head creeps up behind James and whacks the shit probably literally out of him, sending him crashing and falling down into the wrecked special treatment room, but in critical condition. Leaving the room, he makes his way to a padded cell, noting a code written in blood on the wall. Searching throughout the patient wing, James eventually ends up in room S14 with the quad-locked box inside, opening which only leads to acquiring a strand of hair. Really, y'all? With said hair, he walks over back into the shower and combines it with the needle in order to fish out the patient wing elevator key. How creative. Unlocking the elevator, he rides on down to the first floor patient wing finally. Running around, James enters C2 and finds Laura playing with some stuffed bears. He doesn't really know how to talk to kids, as he calls her a liar as she's trying to tell him about Mary. Walking out the room together, Laura tells James there's something she forgot. A letter from Mary. James finally listens to her as they walk to the double-door room. She tells him that it's in the back, in the desk. Sus as fuck, and well, He slams it shut, locking the door from the outside, and Laura laughs and mocks James as he pounds on the door in desperation. In a panic, he calls her a snotty little brat, and that seals her for her, as she calls him a fart face before leaving his dumbass behind, to seemingly die via the creature emerging from the ceiling. James now takes out not just one, but a total of 3 flesh lips, beating their ass with a 12 gauge, and after being wheeled outside, James now wakes up in the first floor garden. And trying to get his head on straight about how he ended up there, he once again enters the hospital through the double doors beside him. While searching around the halls, he heads into room M6 and takes the dry cell battery and the basement storeroom key. Before leaving, he looks into the day room and his feeble self came and opened up a damn fridge. Once finished looking around, he makes his way up into the elevator and all the way to the 3rd floor. Walking out and around, James checks in on Maria and S3, but she's no longer there. Yippee! And he finds her medication on the nightstand. Strange. He now heads over to the stairwell and carefully runs his way down into the basement storeroom, in which he finds a ladder to go down even deeper, but just as he's about to climb on down, Maria walks in. She blames him for almost dying, but she fucking decided to take a nappy nap in one of the rooms, and she wants to claim that James only cares about his dead wife, which, look, neither I, you, or James can have any kind of good retort to, because, fuck, he didn't want her there in the first place. He was just looking for his dead wife. But they both go down into the basement's basement and collect a copper ring and walk their asses out of that basement. They make their way up to the 3rd floor and rush to the patient wing elevator in order to go back to the fridge. As they descend, a radio host is heard from somewhere, presenting a quiz for James about Silent Hill and its history. With a mind foggier than the town itself, he does his best to remember the answers for a later prize in the 3rd floor storeroom. Now hitting the 2nd floor, they get out and return to the day room, and with the power of friendship and Maria, the fridge is open, revealing its contents to be a lead ring. Not forgetting his answers, they quickly head back up in order to input the code and grab the goodies inside. Having everything they need, they head back down to the strange door with the painted woman and give her the rings. They find there to be a stairwell behind and walk their way on down. Once at the bottom, they enter through the door and start making their way through the oddly shaped hallway when suddenly, Pyramid Head appears behind Maria and makes his way towards them. James is able to make it into the elevator at the end of the hallway, but unfortunately, Maria gets stabbed through her trying to join him. The doors close, James rides on up, all alone once again. Back on the 1st floor, he finds the front doors locked and heads inside the director's room, and on the desk inside, there is a map with the location of a letter, a wrench, along with the memo and a hospital lobby key. Finally, James walks to the front doors, unlocks them, and re-enters the cold, foggy streets of Silent Hill. Back out on the outside, he runs around finding supplies and eventually making his way east on Saul through a gate. Avoiding the Mandarins underneath the grating and unlocking the gate on the other side, he now runs past Gonzalez's Mexican restaurant. Fuck, some Mexican food sounds good right now. And over by which he finds the letter and the wrench. The letter telling James that there is a key to the Historical Society behind the praying woman statue at Rosewater Park. While pillaging the town for what it's worth, he comes across a wall with the door that wakes in darkness, opening into nightmares, right besides a fucking door, which James's white ass decides to ignore what's on like he wrote the damn thing. After getting in a good run, he reaches the entrance to the park, and feeling quite relieved, he opens the door and heads down the path leading to the statue. Digging behind the statue, he discovers a tin box that he opens with the wrench, finding inside an old bronze key that he needs. Now having the key, he runs down Nathan Avenue all the way to the Historical Society and enters its ominous presence. Once inside, he stares into the soul of the party napkin and looks around at the artwork surrounding him. One in particular standing out is quite familiar, as it's a painting of fucking Pyramid Head himself, and that can't be good. Running down the hallways and popping on the monsters along the way, James finds himself at the edge of a square hole, dropping straight down to the depths of darkness, and, of course, he jumps on down. Upon landing, he realizes he's in the bottom of a well that, thankfully swinging his pipe around, finds a weak spot, and he's able to break through and goes out into a sewer. Sewer level time? Just kidding. Entering a small room, he grabs a key in the middle of the floor, and suddenly, his flashlight goes out. Quickly thinking, James puts in the battery he found earlier, and thankfully it actually does work. But as we now see, a new fear is overcoming James as the room is found to be full of the creepers, aka big-ass roaches. And he has to guess a code on the door. But once quickly figuring out said code, he leaves the room and unlocks the locked floor gate, revealing a vertical hallway that James, once again, happily jumps down. After falling down that abyss, he comes face to face with Eddie once again in the cafeteria. Fat ass. But Eddie has that mouse tool on him and ain't afraid to show it to James. And Eddie be on some crazy shit at this point, talking about how it's easy to kill someone, how he had it coming for him, for looking at him funny, and even the fucking dog had it out for him. But it's all a joke according to Eddie. Classic Redditor moment. And he leaves James alone once again, all scared and confused. After that mess, he walks to the back of the room, grabbing the tablet of the gluttonous pig, and heads out through the double doors. Running down the hall, James finds himself at some desks and grabs the prison map. He makes his way to the shower rooms and, after searching around and bashing the skull of a lying figure or two, cops the tablet of the seductress and leaves before Pyramid Head can make him drop the soap. He walks over to the south cell block and in the ninth cell discovers a seemingly glowing wax doll on the bed and, not concerned with the potential of becoming one of the many creatures through the glowing radiation alone, James just shoves it in his pocket and continues his merry way. Ha 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 ha. Alright. After doing some double doors, he reaches the courtyard with a scaffold in the center. 3 squares inserts with 3 corresponding nooses above. Continuing along into the north cell block, James eventually makes his way to cell 7, in which he finds and takes the tablet of the oppressor from the bed. With all 3 tablets in hand, no apple, James rushes back to the scaffold and puts the tablets into the depressions. Afterwards, a large gut-wrenching scream is heard. With nothing else happening visually, James heads back towards the prisons and he comes to find a horseshoe has been placed on the left door. Pyramid Head a cowboy all of a sudden? Yeehaw! Re-entering the lower north cell block, he pillages all he deems useful, and through the visiting room is in the northwest area of the prison. Walking into the next visiting room, James grabs the lighter left on the counter conveniently and exits back into the hall. He eventually finds himself at the warden's office, taking all the ammo and drugs until he enters through the door near the health drink. And inside that door, finds a hunting rifle. Finally, something that might be able to give Pyramid Head a taste of his penetration medicine. Now, heading out the office, James walks right and finds an escape hatch that does an old school PC-ass combination of items in order to open. It jumps down into another dark hole other than Mary's. Now in the basement of this prison, the only way James can go is unfortunately down another deep hole. And once again, another fucking hole. God, I feel bad for his knees and ankles. In this area, he heads into an elevator and collects the items inside while it descends even deeper down. Exiting that elevator, he must now make his way around the labyrinth. He sees a wire fence with the ladder he knows as he escaped from wherever the hell he has ended up. Looking at the map, it's blank. Oh, hell no. James has to make his own fucking map now? Cheap-ass developers. Heading left, he runs into the northeast ladder and heads down, probably pissing himself when he realizes that Pyramid Head is just patrolling this area casually. Is this his home? Fuck it. MTV Cribs time, y'all. Running around, James finds his way inside a center area and steals a great knife, probably sprinting out of there faster than an officer confronted about mistreating a black man. Heading up west, he climbs down a ladder, using 2 figures for target practice, and heads up the next ladder and discovers a spinning box of faces. Once able to open the 2 doorways in the metallic room, he makes his way down the staircase at the end and very quickly rushes back upstairs. Once up top, James hears and sees sparks flying from the breaker box near the ladder, with the wire cutter stabbed into it. I guess it's certain someone ain't got the brain to use them correctly in that big-ass Mattel Bash Pro Shop ass head. Now remember the wiring fence from earlier? He makes his way back and is finally able to climb down a protected ladder. Following along the corridors, ladders, and avoiding Pyramid Head once again, he reaches a room with ketchup-stained newspapers that he can't make out every detail of, but leaves him feeling quite uneasy with what he can. Suddenly, James hears Angela screaming, and walking into the room, he sees a horrifying creature standing over her named the Abstract Daddy. Along with its shape and the disturbing walls enclosing the room, gives James an idea about what Angela has gone through. After shooting it until it lays still and down, Angela gets her licks in, and James attempts to confront her, but understandably, she doesn't want the shit, fearing he would do what her father did to her, and claims James didn't even want Mary around before storming off. Following after, he discovers a pair of handcuffs attached to the lifting exit gate and goes to explore the 2 rooms in the corridor. In one, a room filled with 6 corpses of hanged men, and in the other, a room with 6 empty nooses to be pulled. After reading and thinking pretty hard, James pulls down the correct noose on the man who is innocent, and in the place of that man is the key of the persecuted. With key in hand, he walks down the hallway and unlocks the handcuffs and lifts the gate. Passing under, he climbs down the ladder and follows all the way to the white door. Entering the room Maria's in earlier, unfortunately she is no longer with us once again, and James composes himself and moves through the now open gate and heads up another ladder. Once up, he soon realizes he's in some kind of catacomb and sees a few very familiar names upon some gravestones. And facing his own literal grave, he takes a breath and jumps once more. Now landing, James makes his way through the halls and walks through the door, meeting up once again with Eddie in a meat freezer. He's gone even more crazy than last time, ranting on how people talk shit to him and that no matter what you are, everyone's the same once they're dead, and how he will murder any motherfucker making fun of him. James, the best person at reading a room, calls Eddie nuts and almost gets a hot one in his shoulder for his troubles. And now it's time to finally end and maybe bring some peace to this big Dombrowski. After a small struggle and falling Eddie into the meat freezer, James is able to gun him down before becoming the next hanging meat bag. He looks down at the corpse, trying to grapple with the fact that he killed a human. And finally, he exits the Historical Society. Now on the other side, he finds a dock with a rowboat. Knowing that the hotel is across the water, he sits down and rows his way towards the light in the sky, hoping he can finally end this nightmare and see his wife once more. Eventually, after fighting the waters, he parks the boat on the side of the dock and looks around at the hotel and throughout the courtyard, discovering the Little Mermaid music box and a fountain nearby, and steps inside the Lakeview Hotel. He walks around the first floor of their special place, collecting a map, looking at which reveals a message saying, "Waiting for you," where room 312 is, their room. Entering the restaurant area, he takes a fish key, and at the end, messing around on the piano, is Laura. Being weirdly relieved at her being alive at this point, James and Laura both hope that Mary is here, and she might just having a letter that she took from the nurse's office. Upon reading the letter, he asks about her age and realizes there might actually be a chance of Mary being here. And now Laura says that there's another letter in that'll make James see why she wanted to come back to Silent Hill so much, but unfortunately she seems to have lost it and now runs out of the room in a panicked hurry with James calling out for her. Heading out in tow, James looks to the left and encounters a pair of Abstract Daddies. Bro, we just fucking fought them like not even an hour ago as a boss and they're already just enemies? Ugh. But James does take them down with much more ease than earlier with the boomstick, and after recovering in the storeroom, he descends down the center stairs into the basement, and while running around, finds a can of paint thinner, yummy, in an open elevator. Passing the locked Venus bar, he heads back upstairs and enters the lobby, in which he immediately notes a large music box for later. On the reception desk is a note about a videotape that James had left years ago. How freaky. However, it states that it will be found in the first floor office, and there strangely doesn't appear to be a labeled office as such. Thankfully though, there is a large unlabeled area on the east side, so at least he has an idea on where to look. Walking on into the reception room, he notices a glimmer in his eye as he grabs the key to room 312 and breathes a sigh of relief at something going easy in his way for once. Running upstairs into the west, James makes his way to the cloakroom and discovers a briefcase that can be opened with the fish key. Doing so reveals the key to room 204. Upon leaving and blasting open 2 more daddies, he unlocks and enters room 204. Inside, he takes the employee elevator key and enters through a big-ass hole in the wall and finds himself now in room 202. Looking around, James quickly comes upon a locked briefcase with a bunch of photos on the bed on some real criminal type shit. Once deciphering the code, he acquires the Cinderella music box. 2 down, 1 to go. After which, James leaves and crosses over to the mid-east hallway from the lobby balcony. Looking on the map, he sees another grayed-out room nearby and discovers it to be the employee elevator. Rushing into the elevator, an alarm suddenly blares throughout the room, and trying to use the buttons and looking closer, James finds there to be a weight limit, of exactly 1 person. James has no choice and has to put all of his equipment on a nearby shelf. Weapons, healing items, even all the key items are too heavy to bring along. So feeling quite commando, James once again steps into the elevator and rides on down to the first floor. Shaking harder than Ice Spice's ass, James finds an employee hotel map which shows us that the office is directly through this hallway. But first, James's fat ass self checks the pantry and only finds there to be the Snow White music box. Yippee! Heading into the office, he looks at the safe and finds a videotape and a can opener. Strange. A can opener in a safe, but alright. Exiting the room, James makes his way up the stairs and encounters his first threat, and is thankfully able to juke his way past that mannequin. Entering the boiler room and inspecting the side of the working boiler, he finds the bar key. After breaking the ankles of another bitch-made mannequin, James runs into the kitchen and finds a couple of health drinks and a large tin can that he opens with the can opener, and inside collects a... Psych, it's a fucking light bulb. Continuing into the other room, he enters the Venus Tears bar and goes up to the exit door. James, though, finds it too difficult to simply wiggle the key around until it goes in and puts the light bulb in the nearby lamp just to let him see where to insert it. Ain't the first time he's done that for sure. Finally exiting the bar and basement, he rushes his way back to the employee elevator area and retrieves his supplies. Having all the music boxes now, James makes his way back downstairs into the big music player in the lobby, and upon listening to the pretty little tune, is given the hotel stairway key. Remembering the gate on the 3rd floor, James returns to it and makes his way through and unlocks room 312. Entering the room, James walks over to the VCR and inserts the tape and sits down on the lone chair. Well, he fucking killed her. And upon realizing this fact, he is left stone cold, and even worse, Laura walks up. She asks if he found Mary, and James bluntly tells her that she is dead, and that in fact, he killed her. Laura takes a few moments to process this information and yells at James to give her back, calling James the killer. She ultimately says she hates James while hitting his shoulder multiple times, each one saying, "I hate you." After, James looks down and says that he's sorry, that the Mary she knew isn't there. After Laura walks out once again, he says he's sorry. Slumping back down in the chair, James hears a familiar voice statically over the radio. Mary. She's waiting for him. She asks if he hates her, and if she's nearby and wants to see him. Taking everything in, James stands up once again and walks out into the hallways. But they changed. Seems the place has taken a fair amount of water damage over the years. But even stranger, James attempts to turn back on the flashlight, which seems to be non-functional, but he treads on it into the reading room, in which he finds some headphones and listens in. Heading over to the western hallway, he finds that when entering certain rooms, they will bizarrely teleport him to different rooms. Once he eventually makes his way to room 219, James runs his way down the hallways until entering the elevator and riding down to the basement. Once down there, James moves his way through the fairly high water into the Venus Tears bar and avoids the nearly hidden lying figures in the water. Running through the kitchen, he finds himself back at the employee hallway and enters through a blue door at the end. Inside is a fiery blaze with Angela upon the staircase. Upon seeing James, she walks towards him, calling him Mama, and once realizing it is James and not her mama, apologizes. She thanks him for saving her earlier, but admits that even her mama said she deserved it. Like, fuck, man. After he says she didn't deserve it, she suddenly changes her tone, asking very sarcastically if he could save her, love her, fix all her pain. Then she reaches out, asking for the knife. James refuses, and she remarks about him saving it for himself. As she walks up the burning staircase, James responds that he wouldn't kill himself, and that it's hot as hell in there. Angela then reveals that, for her, it's always like this. The flames continue to spread and rise as James makes his leave, and Angela continues to head up the staircase. Heading up the stairs ahead, he steps into the employee-only wing and runs through to reach a door at the end. Entering said door, he finds himself in a graded path unmarked on the map, and dodges 2 mandarins to the next door. Inside are 9 party napkins. Fucking 9? James, along with us, are shitting our pants, wondering what the fuck is after this room. Shit. 2 of them? James grabs a shotgun with his newfound strength and runs around, blasting them until they suddenly move to the middle of the room and impale their spears into their chins and A-pose in defeat. Walking up to them, James notices and grabs the rust egg and the scarlet egg and inserts them into the holes in the doors and walks on through to his final challenge. While walking through this disheveled hallway, a recording of James visiting Mary in a hospital plays, and he takes the time to reflect on everything that has happened up until this point. Once he exits the hallway and walks up the stairs, he finally comes face to face with Maria once again, and is finally able to tell her that this has to stop between them. Unfortunately, she doesn't take it well at all, and transforms into a woman seemingly strapped down and trapped into a metal frame. James uses her for target practice for his rifle. After a few good shots, she goes down, and he walks up to her and delivers one final blow, upon which transitions into one of the few endings, but I'll go ahead and play the most likely ending on a first-time journey. Oh shit, y'all actually stuck around. That skipped through my story retelling, and I can understand that. Just wanted to bring us all on the same page with what we should expect from the remake. But before we move to all that, I guess it's only right we take a quick look at the gameplay, just to see if the remake can feel the same without being the same. Now, since this game is older than me, the modern third-person controls and over-the-shoulder camera wasn't the standard at all, so it very much plays like the first game and the Resident Evils and many other horror shooter games that were released at the time. And honestly, I've never really had a strong opinion on either way, with hating the fuck out the tank controls or absolutely loving them. And so for me, it's always been easy to get into the flow of a lot of the older games, and with the general movement and how the camera swings around, despite sometimes the camera being but it's just old game shit, right? I mean, it's like playing 90s PC games. It's just 90s PC gaming shit, okay? So it is what it is. Pretty standard, just standard for the time. Combat, on the other hand, it's pretty awkward at times, especially when the camera, again, decides to fuck you over by blocking enemies from sight. But thankfully, that doesn't really happen too often. And swinging around your wooden plank or steel pipe actually feels completely fine once you learn the timings of the attacks and the enemy's attacks. And shooting honestly can be a bit of a crapshoot from farther distances, but none of the guns feel too weak, and at closer ranges, they all hit just fine, James isn't no military man, he's just a dude that killed his fucking wife, So overall, the combat is fairly rudimentary and occasionally a bit jank, but does its job, doesn't feel no more awkward or off as the rest of the game, so I say it holds up and is pretty easy to get used to and won't really detract from your overall enjoyment of Silent Hill 2. Also, rest in peace to triangle button if you've played any of these Silent Hill games, you understand. So I first completed a game, I would say around 2018, and I did genuinely love the game. But even then, I wish that a remake would come out, and would imagine how they would upgrade everything for the PS4s and Xbox Ones. And then a completely unexpected project would come out about a year later than I played the game, and Well, I think that would bring the thought of a remake for the Silent Hill series, any of them, especially the second game, much closer and much more prominent on the minds of not only the Silent Hill fans, but just horror fans in general. And that game is, of course, the Resident Evil 2 remake. Not to get into it right now, maybe in a different video down the line, but I genuinely see the remake as a straight-up replacement for the original Resident Evil 2. And what I really mean by that is that Resident Evil 2 remake is the way that Capcom always wanted Resident Evil 2 to be. It's what they wanted out of the game. But unfortunately, back in the day with limitations and, whatnot, it just wasn't possible back then. And really, when you play the game, other than nostalgia and curiosity, really, what is the point of playing the original game over the remake? Like, honestly, everything is just better in the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I think that every fan of Silent Hill collectively both jizzed their pants and cried in jealousy in the love that series and sequel got in comparison to the canceled projects and pachinko machines that Silent Hill was bestowed the last few years up to that point. But thankfully, it wasn't even 5 years before Booper Team and Konami teamed up in order to create their own remake, in addition to a couple other projects in development that was definitely their answer to Capcom, and saying that they weren't the only company that can revitalize their horror series, especially after the travesty the series was up to at that point. It really needed to do something big, it needed to be quick, and it needed to fucking work. So did it. I'm gonna stall for time on that one, okay? We're gonna quickly talk about the first little bit of content that came out in the Silent Hill series before the remake. After the pachinko machines, once the announcements start coming out and shit, the start of the revitalization of the series. And the first part of that, it lowered expectations even more than it was for the Silent Hill 2 remake, I think, and just Silent Hill in general. Silent Hill Ascension. Ascension was this weird mobile game that was like a streamed TV show that you interacted with in real time in order to move the story along and solve puzzles. And look, honestly, I have no real desire to actually look into and watch the show, because from what damn near everyone says, it's dog shit. And even beyond the show itself, the creator doesn't really seem to handle criticism well. So fuck him. Right? He doesn't want it, so why should I give it? If y'all want enough, if y'all really want it, I will go through the entire fucking series of Silent Hill Ascension, and I'll give you my thoughts and my recap. But unless y'all really want that, no, I'm not going to. I have no reason to. And, I say all this, right? I say all this as someone who's never really attempted to make the modern, big 2020s version of a fucking Sega CD game, really. You could have at least made a decent story out of it, even if the gameplay was whack, and the choices didn't really matter, Walking Dead Telltale style, choices ain't really fucking mattering. At least make a decent story out of it. That's the least you could have done. I'm just saying, especially as the first bit of Silent Hill content in a few years. I think before that, if we're not counting the pachinko machines, it was Book of Memories. And everyone thought Book of Memories was going to be the low point of the series, was going to be the fucking bottom. No, Silent Hill Ascension generally took that down more. It just did. I played Book of Memories. I actually had a PS Vita. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a terrible dungeon crawler. Stupid as hell for a Silent Hill game, but not a terrible game in and of itself. Repetitive, but not terrible. Ascension was terrible. It was terrible in game. It was terrible in execution. It was terrible in the story. And the idea itself, it's interesting. It is an interesting idea to bring Sega CD style shit into the big 2025, especially live choices, everything. It's kind of cool. But it's a really complicated idea that didn't hold up, considering it didn't last barely more than a year after it began. And I think that we can all agree that they never try anything that fucking out there again. At least again, if we're gonna go Silent Hill, at least have a somewhat decent story. Silent Hill 4, for example, not the greatest gameplay, but the story. So there's my stance, right? Thankfully, that wasn't the only game announced, and another much more promising project is coming soon that, at the time of writing and recording, I'm hopefully able to play and talk about proper in this video in a separate segment. If not, it's probably going to be its own little video, But hopefully, if I can, I'll be able to put it here. But if not, I would just like to say that it looks amazing. Like, I'll put some screenshots, little clips here. The game looks incredible. And even, people want to complain about the fucking combat. Did y'all play the Silent Hill 2 remake? The amount of fucking combat, it's crazy. Especially in the later half. We'll get to that later once we get to the remake, but yeah. But yeah. It looks amazing. I am really excited that Silent Hill is trying a brand new environment with brand new characters and just some brand new monsters, hopefully invoking a lot more of that Japanese surrealism and body horror that I love, coming out of Japanese horror. And if I had to give a bit of a inspiration that I hope it takes, Siren 2, Forbidden Siren 2, because it was only a PAL in Japan release. Really hope they take something similar with the way that game designed some of its creatures. Well, I'm out of stuff to fill out the script and get the minutes for my future nickels and dimes. So, let's finally talk about the real whole main point of this entire video, the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, as soon as I heard that it was confirmed that the remake was coming out, I instantly knew I was either going to be buying it, pre-ordering it, or asking someone to get it for me as an early birthday present, as my birthday's later in October. The game came out the 7th. My birthday's the 24th, so it was like, cool. Right little birthday game. And thankfully, a friend who you will be hearing from later at the end of the video during the interview, he was able to actually get the game for me. Thank you, Jude. Love you, man, very much. And listen, unfortunately, even though he got me the game, I didn't have time at the time to put into it, and I actually really wanted to be able to put down at least a good 3 hours into the game my first session, so I didn't play it for a couple weeks, right? I didn't. But when I did get to play it, watching that opening cutscene with my own eyes on my copy of the game on my computer, the grin I had on my face, I instantly knew, watching that shit for myself, that I wasn't going to be disappointed. Despite my love for this game, right, there is one problem. There's one major problem that I do have. I'm not putting any footage of my own, and the reason is the performance. Optimization, not great at all. It's Unreal Engine, so it's kind of to be expected, but I don't have a shitty computer. I really don't. Here, I'll put a... Here, I'll see if I can show it right quick. Oh. Right. So that's my computer right here, right? You see, it's a pretty tiny system, but it's got a Ryzen 5 5500. It's got RX 6600 as a graphics card. Otherwise, it's a competent system. It is a very competent system. So it's not really something that I would expect to struggle too hard. It usually, in most games, it doesn't. I'm not even trying to flex I'm getting 4K 140, but no, I'm fucking running a 1080p monitor. I'm getting 100 FPS plus. So it's usually most games it plays fine. This game, I was hard pressed to find a constant 60 FPS or more. Even 45 was a struggle in a lot of places. And I know people are, you play, fucking consoles are 30 FPS, maybe 60 FPS at the most, and it's never consistent. Yeah, I get that, but with PC, in the whole thing is customization. I should be able to customize the settings to the point where my game is smooth on my console, on my fucking PC, right? And it just didn't do that. Certain lighting situations, particularly in like really cramped corridors, like usually offices. For some reason, there's like a couple office like areas in buildings that when I would walk in, the lighting, I guess it was just refracting off of too much shit, too many shadows being rendered. I don't know. It would just tank my performance for a good like couple minutes or so, right? And that wasn't terrible. It only happened, I say, like 3 or 4 times. Not even a full handful of times, but it was enough for me to remember. So I feel like I had to mention it. And overall, again, the optimization just isn't there. Now, hopefully when they do the Born from a Wish DLC, that they release a performance patch like The Last of Us on PC. Y'all ever played The Last of Us on PC? Remember how unoptimized and how shittily the game ran on PC when it first came out? I can download a game now and it generally runs just fine on my computer. So again, it's not my computer, it's optimization, especially with Unreal Engine. The work needs to be put in. I hope it's being put in by Blooper Team. This again, there should be the DLC coming out at some point, you know. Can't wait. Besides that performance issues, I have no real true negatives with this game. Right? It's generally the worst thing I can describe is the performance, which I feel like there should be a good telling sign about the quality of the rest of the game, is the fact that I can't play it good enough is my biggest complaint, you know. Not to downplay it, because again, we're in a big 25, we should be having better optimization, but at least that is my biggest complaint with the game, is that I just can't play it good enough, that I want to experience it better, and I should be able to. And I guess while we're in the realm of performance in gameplay, let's talk about the gameplay, right? It's, you know, more specifically the combat. The implementation of melee and gun combat were actually really good. And again, going back to The Last of Us, if y'all have ever played The Last of Us, everything feels really similar in this game. With the shooting, the melee combat feels weighty and meaty. The guns, they recoil enough. They don't sway too much. You know, it's like you're actually shooting. You have some experience with a gun, right? Not military, but it's standard shit. It feels good to shoot. It feels good to hit. You know, everything is very satisfying. It feels engaging. It never feels bullshitty. Like, I never really felt like the combat controls or the gameplay associated with that was ever a hindrance to me. Everything felt smooth and felt good, right? That's why I can really say about this combat. It is good, right? And for a Silent Hill game, good combat is very rare. On purpose, mind you, for them. I would imagine mostly on purpose, but still, it's not really a thing like, oh, the combat's actually enjoyable. No, the combat is enjoyable. It's not repetitive because there's enough enemy variety and there's enough environmental variety that you don't ever feel like you're truly doing the same thing over and over again, bashing enemies, even though the combat does get heavy, especially in the later half of the game, when you're going through the prison and all that. There's a lot of combat, and a lot of moments where you're going to be surrounded. All that does is heighten the experience. It excites you. You don't rage like that with this game. You feel it's like, ah, shit, man, I could have dodged, done this, you know, shot him from afar and all that. That's how you feel. It makes you think, makes you realize that it makes you feel you are in control the entire time. And that is great. That is genuinely great. You know, every time you're bashing in an enemy's ribs, stomping them out, shooting to knees, you know, even getting them from behind you you can sneak up on enemies and knock them down to the ground with like a melee swing. You know, it all just feels good. Blends together to create a very immersive experience that I would highly recommend headphones or getting some decent surround speakers to just experience, you know, like the enemies come from behind you. You can hear that shit. Or you can hear them just crawling around somewhere else. All the monster noises are just freaky as hell. You know, I want to hear that. I want to hear the effort that's been put into this game. And it gives you a reason to. So, appreciating all of that. Moving around the town to get to all that juicy combat. It's pretty standard. You know, James walks and runs along at a brisk, controllable pace. The inclusion of a dodge button is the perfect change. Much like the melee, The parry attack in Resident Evil 4 Remake was the perfect addition to the gameplay. The dodge mechanic is the perfect addition to the gameplay of Silent Hill 2 Remake. Especially, again, as fairly combat heavy as it can be. It's really good to just be able to move out the way, get your shots and all that, especially the boss fights as well. You're going to be doing a lot of dodging. It's going to feel kind of Dark Souls-y in some instances. But that's fun. It's fun to do. It's never going to feel bad. It's always going to feel fun. It's always going to feel enjoyable. The gameplay, the combat is very exhilarating in the moment. And again, like I've said a couple times, I'm just glad it avoided being repetitive. So the melee, incredible. The gameplay, the gunplay, also incredible. Let's talk about those guns a little bit more. You know, you have the wooden plank, right? Your standard melee item, this just wooden piece of wood. It's just a piece of wood with some nails in it. Just great standard damage, standard attack range, all of that. Pipe, a little bit of a harder hit, longer range, slightly slower, I think. Overall, easily the better choice. So for firearms, you have a standard handgun that doesn't have an insane amount of sway to either aiming or shooting, which thankfully does translate to all the guns. And it's pretty good for disabling enemies from, decently afar before going in for some melee swings or shotgun blasts. And said shotgun is really fun. It sounds good. It feels good. And getting up close and sending enemies flying back, has such a satisfying force and boom. So it's very good up close, high damage, all that. And then there is, last but certainly not least, the hunting rifle. That is quite good as its name's sake. And honestly, just taking a couple seconds to reload isn't nearly as ass-clenchingly slow as, say, the Gorgon from Black Ops 3 Zombies. And the power that you get from it and the accuracy that you get from it definitely makes up for just a couple seconds of, having to put shots in. And well, that's James' summary, except for one New Game Plus weapon that I'll talk about when we look into the New Game Plus content. Now, of course, you aren't the only living thing throughout the town, and most of what's left alive is out to get James in a variety of ways, starting with the lying figure, found either lumbering forward or crawling around like a cockroach, able to spit out some kind of acid at distance, and while in the other world, upon death will spew a thick mist of acid. Its appearance, an uneasy fusion of straitjacket and a human, with the addition of spikes around his body when in the other town. And then there's also these semi-annoying little bastards of bugs called creepers. Aw, man. Which is just a quick, hairy beetle, spider, demon child that isn't much of a threat at all in reality. It just catches you off guard on occasion and pinches you, right? All it is. And then later on, when obtaining the flashlight, you encountered the mannequin, just hiding in plain sight. A favorite activity of it, as you will soon see. With it having another set of legs instead of a torso they used to bop the shit out of James. I thought they couldn't be worse. If you don't pay attention, later on they will be crawling on the walls and ceilings in order to jump you. Like literally, they'll just be on the wall and just fucking lunge themselves at you. And yeah, very, very fun time when multiple decided to try and gangbang you, but it is what it is, right? That's just Silent Hill shit. Now, to a monster I wouldn't resist trying in the nurses, the defining monster of not just this a game, but in my opinion, the entire series as a whole. And I can understand so with its designs. And although its bulbous bubblehead is definitely a bit of a turn-off, I think a good bit of Crown Vanilla and a quick little meal will for sure make me think again and look a little harder, I'd fuck the nurse. I'd just be praying she ain't whack my ass with that pipe or just coldly start swinging and stabbing at me. Like, fuck, chill, man. I'm just trying to bring a good time. Yeah, mama. But who doesn't bring a good time? The fucking Mandarin. Now, I'm pretty sure it's just my slightly ass performance, because my friend had a much easier time with the dodging and everything, but I don't know. I had a good couple moments with these assholes. My second playthrough, I was able to run away the first time, but the second time, I don't know. I just kept getting fucking screamed at and stabbed at with the fucking tail like I'm an alien. And so maybe I should have just tried to kill them instead of running away the second time. But fuck them, man, you know. They stabbed my asshole too many times for me to be objective. So as we can clearly see, they kept the same energies from the original, but they added a couple different variations in addition to the standard versions that I think all of them feel quite right together. They all fit into the world of Silent Hill and bring mostly fun challenges along with them. Emphasis on mostly. But of course, there's much more that they lovingly adapted, and I will artistically yap about for all of, like, 4 of y'all that are watching. You know, like, share, subscribe. I love y'all, by the way. I really do. And I guess that we're finally able to dig into what they've changed and what they didn't about the story. Obviously, it's not a beat-for-beat retelling, because that would be fucking stupid. For the story and environment, and just be completely uninteresting and obviously not getting much of a reason to play. But you do go to the same locations: Bar Neely's, the hospital, hell, even the rowing the boat across the lake scene. It's here, and we love it. I was a bit worried that they'd take the Resident Evil 3 remake approach and just cutting out a good chunk of the content for the original game, but no. They put in the effort to not only add in new shit for the premise and the game and the general environments, but they actually include a bunch of references that James can look at for specific moments of the original that, you know, you and I will remember, and I'll go ahead and put just a few of them up on the screen. So not only with the environments and the story beats that they keep everything the same in the enemies, but also the bosses, you know, especially the bosses they keep and add to. Like, holy shit, they really did some of the bosses some justice in this remake. So, I'm gonna have to digress, you know, a little bit and introduce a surprise segment to this video. That's right, surprise segment, a ranking, a tier list to be specific, of all the Silent Hill 2 remake bosses. That's right, we're gonna see how they stack up with each other, how I feel about them, and do I think overall, what's the improvements? Which ones are better? Which ones are maybe worse? Or which ones haven't really changed enough? So, let's do that right now. First up, in the first tier list of this channel, is the tall, jacked motherfucker himself, Pyramid Head. In the first encounter with him, you're in a dark enclosed room that, after a while, seems to seemingly rain, all while you're running around shooting at him with only cages and crates for protection until the timer runs dry, and that familiar siren goes off for him to simply walk away. Overall, a solid first boss that, if you haven't learned dodging, will leave you desperate to eject a needle in your arm. Although that's every boss in this game, admittedly. Just enough intensity and intimidation to give first goers a quivering on their boots, and for that, and lasting just long enough, like me, a solid C. C+ tier if that matters to you. Overall, pretty standard first encounter, not a true boss, more of a mini boss of sorts, but again, great introduction to Pyramid Head, how threatening he can be, and a nice little test of what skills you've worn up until that point. Next up, after getting locked in and ditched by Laura, you come face to feet with the Fleshlip. Ugh. A caged creature that roams the ceiling and attempts to ambush you from above and swing its body and metal arms at you. After enough bullets, the monster comes down to your level and grows another 2 of those metal, now legs, and charges towards you and occasionally heads back up into the ceiling trying to catch you off guard. All until you put it down with enough shells and fent. As a boss fight, I know I kind of went through this quick, and this is kind of be a quick segment a little bit, but I'm going to be putting gameplay up, and this is honestly the biggest improvement from the original game. Even my first time playing this, I genuinely really like this boss. Although it's not super complicated, it's not super long, it is generally a fun time, more fast-paced than the Pyramid Head fight. It's more intense, especially compared to the original. It's a lot fucking funner. You know, the original, I think the Fleshlip boss is the worst boss fight. but I don't think I can really say that in this case. I don't really think there is a true worst boss, to be, just to be frank with y'all. This doesn't qualify at all. This is a fun time. Again, not the longest, not the most impactful, but a good time. And I will definitely have to give this a gold star for the most improved. So, in addition to the gold star, I will be placing this boss fight in the B tier. A solid B tier at that. Holy shit, guys! Breaking news! As of drafting this part of the script, Blooper Team just announced that the Silent Hill 1 remake is coming out. And we are so fucking back. We're so fucking back in the series. I swear to God, man, it's one of the best things for 2025, to be honest. Except me marrying my wife, to be completely fair. That's number one. The Silent Hill 1 remake, number two. For 2025. I'll be playing on the channel. I will be reviewing it at some point when it comes out. But hey, we're all excited. All right, just want to put that out there. Cannot wait for the Silent Hill remake. I digress. I'm back on track. Walking into a bedroom, you find Angela cowering near the closet as suddenly a monster she refers to as Daddy pushes you through a wall that initiates the chase. The abstract daddy boss is definitely the most emotionally intense boss fight, as in between running away, hiding, and shooting at him whenever able to, there are these rooms with TVs that play audios of Angela's father's sexual and general abuse, and along with that, her mother's indifference and encouragement at times. The longer you rush down the peeling and fading wallpaper-filled hallways, they slowly break away and a new fleshy layer appears, leading all into the one last room where you ultimately defeat this nightmarish symbol with holes and poles moving out of, in and out of the walls. And look, you listen to the fucking TVs. You've probably played the original. You can pay attention. You can infer. You can clock it on for yourself. Just what the hell happened to Angela? And I think looking at everything that the game does, I think it's a really good portrayal of mental health effects and the traumas that really come from that. And that's been the reason why Angela's always been my favorite character. And I'm glad they didn't dumb anything down, or they didn't, expand unnecessarily. They didn't fanalize Angela. No, she's a victim. And she shows the traits of that. She's a product of her environment. We all are products of our environment. And I'm glad that, Blooper Team was able to keep up with the original in showing that. What happens. And, I haven't been through the same shit. At least not in this life. I haven't been through the same sexual abuse as Angela. But as someone who's been through trauma himself, who has had symptoms of PTSD and everything, I get it. And I appreciate that more than some people, I would assume. Just the portrayal of everything and how Angela sees that. And I think it's a really good symbolism, metaphors, all that shit. I just think it's a really good portrayal of mental health. And for those of y'all that are going through similar situations to Angela, just if you're going through some shit, okay? You're going through some shit. I'm going to put some links, I'm going to put some numbers, links, whatever, right here and in the description. I just hope y'all will take a look. Even if it's just one of y'all, I hope someone will take a look, because you deserve help. We all deserve help. We all deserve love. And it doesn't matter what the way that this world, country, whatever you want to put it, how it makes us feel, we are all deserving. Unless you're a pedophile. We're all deserving of some love and respect as human beings. So again, help yourself, help others. Links in the description and on the screen. I digress, however. This boss is going to be getting an S tier from me, not only for the lore behind it, but for being a harrowing experience that continues to test your skills both in the gameplay and just being able to handle everything. Now, after a short bit, you'll end up falling into a meat freezer area, face to face with Eddie again, even more deranged than before, shooting a corpse near you as it declares that we're all the same once dead. Upon pointing the gun straight at your nose, James knocks his ass to the floor, which is the best new moment in this game. And Eddie retreats further into the freezer where the meat is hanging on the hooks. You must now make your way through said meat in avoiding Eddie's apparently 50 cal revolver and the hard-ass pistol whips, if you get too close. As the fight continues, he'll shoot the pipes above, filling the room with a cold mist, making him nearly invisible at times as y'all trade shots. Eventually, the meat starts moving throughout the room, marking the third phase, making it a little harder to spot him, but eventually you do defeat him and feel a sort of way on killing an actual human being instead of the creatures you've encountered up to this point. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest in saying that Eddie is the most difficult boss fight you will face on your journey. As account for my friend who almost lost his first time deathless run on this boss fight. And it's mostly from, you trying to shoot him out the blue and him shooting you out the blue and just hitting you again, 50 cal revolver when you're a little too close sometimes, catching you off guard because you can't see him properly. But again, this is a overall really good gunfight, with the environment being as much of a benefit for Eddie as it is for you, testing your skills on the gunplay. And once again, what the fuck is in that revolver? Being the longest fight up to this point, and being the first one with 3 phases, and being able to not make it feel like you're taking forever in fighting a fair fight, despite the situation you're in, makes this one, I would say, deserving an A tier, A+ tier. Only because it's not as much of an emotional impact as, Angela's Abstract Daddy Boss. But if we're going to go off of gameplay, it's definitely S tier. Pure gameplay, pure fight, S tier. But not being as emotionally charged or significant or impactful, it does just put it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. I just don't think it's on the same tier as Angela's boss fight because of that. Although the next battle I'm going to mention isn't a true boss fight like the Pyramid Head, I really don't have any other opportunity to talk about it, and I guess I might as well while I'm in the video, right? Upon collecting the Cinderella figurine and the chime of a clock, a Mandarin bursts through the wall and charges at you. It will immediately hang upon the ceiling to launch at and shoot a tentacle at you, and after a few good shots and well-timed dodges, it will go down with a relative ease. So yeah, there's a quick mini-boss and nothing else, but at least it doesn't last long nor take up much of your ammo or health. But obviously, it's going to go in D tier because it's not really a boss fight. It's not even as cool as, the first Pyramid Head encounter. It's just little mini boss encounter with a stronger enemy, but it's not a terrible time. Next up, I feel only showing the cutscene itself will do the setup justice, so I'll go ahead and let that play out.
James!
Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone! I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore. I'm ready.
So 2 pyramid heads with spears, so they're actually kind of fast. And again, 2 of them. The name of the game is don't let them corner you, or else you're going to get medievally Swiss cheesed. And even if you do keep yourself at a distance, they'll just go ahead and throw the fuckers right on over. So pay attention to that arm and backswing and shoot at any chance you get, because that dash button is going to be worn after this one for sure. After enough bullets and James clocking in more cardio than a misbehaving track team, they pushed their heads into the spears and popped that classic A pose. So the whole scene before the fight, that's just amazing scream from Luke Roberts, and James getting up to finally face his inner demons is just perfection. The fight itself, however fateful towards the original, in the context of a remake, is just kind of disappointing. They don't have that many attacks and just walk briskly towards you otherwise, and all you gotta do is constantly dash and you'll be mostly fine. Just not as interesting as the other fights. You know, as a story and overall experience, it's an S+. The fight itself, I'm just gonna give it a B tier to be generous, as it is faithful to the original. A little too much so. Well, it's time to let Maria and Mary go. But she doesn't exactly feel the same towards James, and transforms into this upside down burnt corpse chained to a metal frame. She'll float over in order to swing her tentacle around you and try to choke you, both while sending out moths to attack you and throw you off your rhythm. After a bit, she'll slam down her legs and send you through the gates below, sending you into a small room with tight hallways where she'll pop down from the ceiling in order to ambush you. Eventually, the walls crumble down around y'all, and the last phase is an open area with her crawling around on 4 spider legs, going on the constant offense and teleporting around to flank you. Each painful scream brings down more of the ceiling from above, and eventually she goes down and pleads James's name, and with one last strike, is done. And like in the original, whichever ending you obtain plays out. And damn, this was a good final boss. A great final boss, in fact. She hit hard, moved fast, had a variety of attacks in different phases that each played different while having their own emotional stakes behind it. And the overall emotional stake of the fight being incredibly high, as obviously it's trying to let go of everything that he's really came here for, in a sense. It's the perfect fight to show off what the game really has to offer through and through. The disturbing design, with the tragic backstory behind it, the intensity those emotions can bring, all told through satisfying, challenging gameplay and a harrowing score behind it all. I can say they definitely saved the best for last with this one, and it has to go at the top of my S tier. And well, in case you don't feel like staying around for the interview I conducted with my best friend and roommate, since he has played this game and it was his introduction to the series as a whole, I'll say this: the game lived up to the hype surrounding it. It made the roughly 5 years worth of time worth it. It is worth the price. It is worth your time and mental. And in the end, it definitely brought back the series and the fans from it from almost certain future abandonment. Thank you, Blooper Team. We cannot wait for the Silent Hill 1 remake. You better put the same love into that game as well, because we can feel the love for this game and we appreciate it. Thank you for watching and listening to my bullshit. I hope it was at least half as entertaining to view as it was to make. Shout out to Maya, Ari, Gio, and Jude, all for being behind me the whole time. Special shout out to Ari though for the thumbnails and extra pictures. Her Instagram will be down below and on the screen. Go check our art and show your support and love. All other relevant links and credits will be down below in the description. I love y'all, have a good time, and goodbye until next time. Also, I appear to have forgotten this in the script to go back and actually mention the New Game Plus content. There really isn't any. The only thing I can really remember is there being the chainsaw, which is the best melee weapon. It's a fucking chainsaw. You basically just have it out, you just push that shit into the enemies for a couple seconds, and they're dead. That's really about it for New Game Plus. You know, besides other endings, of course. So yeah, sorry I didn't really go back officially in the script, but I'm sure this can explain why. And again, love y'all. And we're recording.
Okay.
Alright, I guess I gotta do my intro. Shit. Hey guys, this is the last segment of the video. This is the interview with my friend over here, Jude, aka Unfocused Cool Smith on Instagram. Can you say hi? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how are you today?
Hi. My name is... And I like video games. That's it.
Yeah! Alright, yeah.
Where's the
Everyone at home, work, at your wife's labor, I don't know. Just make sure to clap along. You know, give it up to this man right here. All right.
No.
So, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I guess for the last time, are you ready for some questions?
I am.
All right. Before I start, what are we playing here? What am I watching?
People Playground.
People Playground. Alright, so what's in the game? What's in the game? Well, bonus question here.
It's a people playground.
Okay.
Yeah. That's as simple as it gets.
I guess fair. I guess we'll see what you do. Alright. So we got first question here, okay? You ready?
Uh-huh.
Alright.
Yes.
What compels you to actually play the game or look into it also?
I just wanted to play a game that was like the, I guess, Resident Evil, like Remake 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and just that kind of level design. I like it, and I could have played, I wanted to play Silent Hill 2 Remake on the PlayStation, but someone didn't give me the disc, so I couldn't. So I just played it on a computer, and I had a fun time.
What do you mean someone didn't give you the disc?
Well, because they said they would give it to me after they finished the game. They never finished the game. They stopped playing the game, and by the time they said, "Oh yeah, I could just give you the game," I was already playing it on my computer.
Bruh, for real?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, was it at least worth the money? You know?
Well, yes, I did. I did buy it, not for myself, but I did buy it. And
fair.
yes, it was.
I would have to agree. Okay. Alright, second question. What were your first impressions as someone who hasn't played the original? I don't think you've even really watched much of it. So,
No, not.
So yeah, what were your first impressions as a newbie? Like first playing this game?
It was very, very fun. And very, think about a lot of things. A lot of psychological horror.
Goddamn. Man's role playing the IDF right now.
I can show you.
Oh god.
Oh shit, wrong side.
What the fuck? What was that?
Give me a second.
Oh.
Flat pose. Make you lay down.
Oh,
Okay, do that.
oh no.
Do I have? Let's pretend this is a pillow.
Pillow. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Reenactment.
Yeah, reenactment. Yeah. um, control wise and gameplay and shit. How was it? Like, how'd it
It was
feel?
very. It felt very nice. I really liked the melee combat the most.
Mhm.
The gunplay was pretty good. It's just sometimes it was like the swaying got too much for me, but like I really didn't mind it for the most part. I liked the puzzles; they weren't too challenging. Um, my only part that I probably hated the most, I would say, is whenever you have to do the stealth part with those
Oh,
things hanging upside
the
down.
mandarins. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite part because I just don't like stealth that much.
Understandable. Yeah. Personally, I grew up with like Metal Gear and shit, so like I'm used to all the stealth stuff. But I can understand that being frustrating. You know, fucking going straight commando, no weapons, no healing, not even the picture of my wife.
Nothing.
Like, oh, I'll rip his ankle. All right. So third question: how did you feel walking through the foggy trail and meeting Angela for the first time?
What is this woman's problem? I wonder what her story is going to be, and is she okay?
Same here. Same here. How'd you feel about the atmosphere? Just like walking through the like all the forests and shit, just seeing all the trees, and then the fog, obviously being as thick as it is.
It gave a nice atmosphere. It was very, you don't know what's going to come next, and ominous feeling. What's wrong with Silent Hill? Where is everyone? Is this real? Is this not real? And the monsters, symbolism, love it.
Right on, man. Right fucking on. So, so what was your reaction to the for the end of Angela's arc?
Going into the burning staircase, right?
Well, just like the general finding out like all what happened with her,
Well,
and then that part.
I was just making sure that's what her end was.
No, I got you.
Yeah, very tragic and sad. The boss fight was very fun. Probably the creepiest boss fight since you didn't know if
Oh,
the dad
very
was gonna come out of this corridor or not.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Go like one part that I really like has stuck with me is whenever you have to go into the closet to hide
Oh,
and then come out. That part is
that
really
shit's
fucking
scary.
sad.
Like, damn, man,
It's just knowing that she had to do that to hide from him, and just the TV, getting to know the conversations. That was pretty cool.
fuck her mom too, man.
Yeah,
No,
and her saying "mama" too. Just yeah,
it hurts.
very sad.
It hurts.
It's very sad.
But all right. So remember that like first blood trail when you get into the town?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell were you thinking? As James decided to go ahead and be his white ass self and follow it.
Nothing really. Just video game.
Just video game, do video game.
Pretty much. I didn't have any like thought process on that one. I don't think. I was just, oh, it's Trail of Blood. I gotta follow it to continue the game. That's really all on that.
Understandable. My ass just You know, I played the original, so I knew obviously I was gonna do it, but it's just like, god damn it, James, why? Like, you really think your wife's gonna follow the bloodshed? Wait. Wait. I don't know. But I mean, ain't that part of Silent Hill? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So alright, so the deja vu moments, right? Like, you know, when you're going through like part of like like the construction way and shit, and then you see like the like boarded up tunnel and stuff, and you walk by and it kind of just like shows it with the little music cue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like I know you ain't really know what those were exactly, but like, what did you think? Just like going through them, just having that shit happen.
At first, I thought it was trying to point out something, or it was like secret collectibles type thing, but I really didn't know what it was, so I just did it and then continued. Really,
I got you. Well, how do you feel now? Kind of like just thinking back, how they were like references to the original.
that's pretty cool. Of course, I wouldn't get any of them since I haven't played the original, but I do think it's cool for people like you who have played the original. It's, a fun little thing. You get to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. So that's really it.
All right. Let me see. All right. Whoops, I already went over combat. Because you already said that, like, the melee combo was fine, so we can skip that question. The monster designs. What'd you think? Just like boss and enemy, all that. What'd you think? Find them, like, cool, creepy, spooky, all that shit? Any in particular that stood out to you?
Definitely Pyramid Head, of course.
Oh, of course.
Fighting the two Pyramid Heads, that was a really fun fight. One thing I will say is in the prison, whenever you go out into the courtyard,
Yes.
what is in the shadows? Is there something there that that you fight and I just didn't know? Or because you hear something shuffling in the shadows.
I'm trying to think. Okay, the prison courtyard. Like, there are some. Like, I think there's, like, an enemy, and I don't remember. No, I don't think there's anything. I think it's just
No, there's
like,
nothing out in the courtyard.
Yeah, it's what it's just.
Yeah.
You know, it's what it's just here shit. Yeah. So I was thinking of a different courtyard that, like, the gazebo and shit. I was thinking of that one for a sec. But yeah, no, with the prison one, with the like nooses and shit. Yeah, no, there's nothing. It's literally just meant to fuck with you. I think it's supposed to be like some of the noises of like people getting hanged. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Other than that, the bottom attached mannequins, those crawling on the walls can go fuck themselves. The what is the mandibles? Is that what you said?
Mandarins.
Mandarins. Yeah, those they're not too bad once you get the hang of them. The first enemy, they're all right. The exploding enemy, they're okay.
I fucking hate the exploding ones.
Well, once you know,
like I know, like once you know, but like, because we're talking about the other world lying figures, right? Like when you, yeah. No, it's like okay, like for the most part they're completely fine, but it's like when they just on like the rare occasion they just stick them in like a tight ass room, and then like you're just trying to back away and you realize you can't, and you just get fucking spat on, just like ah.
There was one time, I think it was one of the exploding ones where you get to the end of the room, but there's a bathroom at the very end, and you go to the bathroom. There's nothing there at first. But then when you come out, something just jumps out at you, and I think it was either that or it was the double-sided mannequin.
I
I don't remember exactly, but I remember it scaring me.
I might see if I can put a clip up if I remember. Am I going to? Fuck no. But hey, who knows? That's how I feel. Okay. Yeah. So none of them, like, in particular, really just fucked you that much through your journey,
yes,
besides the wall ones, right?
No, none of them really did. The bosses, they're pretty cool. Pyramid Head, my favorite one. And my second favorite, probably the final boss fight. But yeah, other than that, like, their designs were pretty cool, and none of them fucked with me too hard.
Word. Now my favorite fight is the last one, because I guess a pure fight, but the abstract daddy, Angela's boss, like, bro, oh my god, the emotions. That it's a good fight too, but like, goddamn.
Yeah, out of, like, yeah, story wise, that's my favorite fight, but yeah, gameplay wise, it's not my favorite fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it was very easy, just that shotgun.
Oh yeah, no, it was easy.
Absolutely.
It's it's really just getting through it, and in the end, it's just like, oh, gotta kill him. I guess it's what the hell? I'm sorry, I looked away. What the fuck did you do?
I don't know.
Motherfucker, how many hours do you have in this game? And you don't know?
Well, it's a mod.
Oh, it's a mod? Oh, my bad. I thought it was just like a thing.
Oh, he got shot.
What the fuck? Alright. How do you feel about Laura being in the town?
How do I feel about what? I'm so sorry.
How do you feel about Laura being in the town? Just like being this like random fucking child, innocent, that seemingly can't see any of the like monsters and whatnot that surrounds us. You know, what's your take on it?
Fuck that child. That's what I say. I don't care. I wish she died to the monsters.
God damn.
Sorry, my bad. No, I do not wish she died to the monsters.
No, honestly, I get you, but go on.
But she was quite annoying. But I understand, like, I guess maybe like the innocence. But she was clearly
just a pretty child.
Just fucking drawing me as a wolf and her as a rabbit running away. Asshole. I'm a wolf.
I am the predator.
No, let's not say that.
No, I think we should say it.
I'm gonna bring this back out.
I'm a predator to my victims.
No, I'm a predator to my own victims.
There we go. Super deep cut. Ain't no one watching this video gonna get that but us. Fuck y'all. Anyway. So what does that actually do?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Or is it literally just like a world little... I don't know. You downloaded this shit, you should know. Like,
he's the gambling human. That's what he's called.
Oh.
Pretty sure it's his domain expansion because it's a character called Hikari from JJK or Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, okay. We love anime.
We love anime.
I find it okay. I don't know. I'm only watching one, and I despise the fucking main character.
Takemichi.
I do. I fucking hate Takemichi, man. Where? Oh my! The girl I like is dead. Wait, bro, just go fucking shake her brother's hand.
Oh.
What the hell? What?
Oh.
What the?
Oh.
Salad fingers?
So gross.
Dog, you remember Salad Fingers?
I do remember Salad Fingers.
That's all I could think of looking at it.
Ew. Ew.
No fight.
Oh.
Boom!
Oh, what an elegant fall that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking gross.
Okay, so Eddie, right? Jesus Christ, that was loud. Oh my god.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just didn't expect that. Did you sympathize with Eddie?
A little bit. Yeah. I can understand where he was coming from. But you know, killing them is only a very, very what's it called? What am I looking for? Is an easy solution, but not the right solution.
Yeah.
You know, I know he was tormented, but
yeah,
probably not the best thing to do.
I
And
don't
then
think
him,
so.
he's the one that got me. He almost killed me. Out of my
That
reckless
is
front,
fair. Yeah,
he is the one that almost fucking put me in the ground.
Oh no,
so
that
I
fucker
have
was.
some strong feelings about that, at least.
Oh no,
So I really don't like him.
He's definitely the hardest boss.
Uh-huh.
Alright, I'll be right back. Go grab something. Oh no, my wife's calling.
Uh-oh. Worst time.
Yes. Doing it. Okay. I should be done. So, yeah.
Ew, it's still up. What the fuck?
I love you. Bye. Oh,
Ew. Gross.
sorry, I was about to just go grab my lighter, but as soon as I fucking put my headphones down, that's when my baby says to call. I'm good. Just the kitchen's closed down, so I'll be good. I should be able to finish this.
Already.
Alright. About halfway through the questions, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh my god! Oh my god! No, get away from me!
What the fuck?
Right back. Wait, we gotta go to a bigger map for that one. Sorry. Okay, you can continue. I'll
What the fuck, man? That shit remind me of that the little girl from Super Paper Mario.
Oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I hated that. That was one of my favorite games. That was my least favorite part.
Well, you fucking hate spiders, though.
Exactly.
There he is, comment down with spider emojis. Fuck with him.
Okay.
Alright. Holy shit. Alright. So how was it seeing Pyramid Head staring at you from behind the bars in that apartment hallway? Just that red motherfucker just staring you down.
That was horrifying. That gave me anxiety. That legit gave me anxiety. I did not like it. Oh my god. You know what we say to this?
Do you know what he's supposed to kind of represent, or do you have an idea of your own? Oh.
His past coming to haunt him. That's the best.
Kinda.
That's the best
It's
I.
more a desire for punishment type shit for what he's
A desire
done.
for what?
Punishment.
Um,
You know, because he's he looks like an executioner kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Were you scared facing him for the first time? Any of the bosses like freak you out, like fighting them?
Did any of them what?
Like freak you out while fighting them? Did Pyramid Head scare you the first time, like just fighting him in the stairs?
No, it was probably the one that goes into the ceiling. What was it called?
Oh, I forget what that one. I think it's
It
called
has such a
Flesh
simple name.
Lips. Flesh Lip.
Yes,
Flesh
yeah,
Lips,
flesh
yeah.
lips. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, that's
that's-
that's the one that got you.
Because I don't like the lips at the very bottom.
Mm,
It's gross.
Gotcha.
What's this gonna do?
So you're gay.
Okay, shut up. It didn't do anything.
Fant. Well, it says it's a regenerative. Oh, what the?
Oh.
What's your opinion on Maria?
We should have tapped that. No, she is a lovely lady. That's what she is. A lovely lady that we let die.
Yeah, twice.
Yep.
Well, actually, 3 times.
In the labyrinth, she wouldn't talk to me anymore. I was sad.
Yeah, she couldn't get in the elevator. She took a forever nap, and then Pyramid stabbed her again, upside down this time. Electric Boogaloo, Australian edition. And then I guess the final boss. So technically 4 times, but the last time we kill her. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like, how did you feel about her? Just like being kind of an idealized version of Mary in James's eyes.
I wanted him a baddie, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
a girl to flaunt her stuff. Not no weak ass, sick ass bitch. You know.
Shit.
Sorry.
Shit. We can all appreciate it. Listen, the way I told my wife, it's like, I don't care if you show off. That makes me feel good because I know they ask gonna be jealous because shit, she gonna come home with me no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So shit. Go ahead and start your stuff, girl. How did you feel about the little bit of escort mission with Maria?
It was fine.
It enraged you at all?
No.
Alright,
Whenever going down the long road that leads out of Silent Hill, she was like, you know, that's the way out of Silent Hill. We should probably turn back and go to the motel. It's like, no, let me explore. That's my.
Oh, dude, yeah, I feel you. That happened to me. I was just like, shut the fuck up. You chose to follow me. I'm like, if you know where you're going, why don't you go in front of me? What the fuck?
Don't mind me.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't have a problem with it either. It's a nothing burger of an escort. It's not no Ashley Graham from RE4.
Yeah.
You know, fuck. What was your favorite location?
Probably it has to be the hospital or the apartment. I like the early game a lot better than the late game because the early game feels more grounded, and you get that. Oh well, you're in Silent Hill. This is the hospital that you saw and you went into. This is the apartments, and then like the actual town itself. But then the labyrinth and the prison, you go deep down into Silent Hill, and then you have the last location being the fucking resort, which the resort was fine. Had some major lag spikes, but it was fine. But I think the hospital and the apartments, all of like Silent Hill, the actual town, is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I understand the take. I do really enjoy the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
The prison was neat. Like the prison, it went on a little too long, and doing that one fucking the like rotating block to get to the different rooms.
Oh yeah, that was weirdest. That was really weird.
That was weird. That's just kind of. Otherwise, I really enjoyed all of them. Favorite would be the hospital. I can't even deny it. We love our hospitals, in Silent Hill, especially Silent Hill 2. But overall, I think they did really good overall, and then especially the very last part where it's the just the normal rundown hotel, how it actually is. I thought that was a really neat touch to the show. James just finally accepting what happened, and just seeing that reality. So with the puzzles, did you enjoy them? And were there any that you got stuck at? Besides the rotating cube. Because I think all of us have gotten at least stuck on that a little bit.
No, I don't think I got stuck really at any puzzle. Maybe like for at like 10 minutes at most, but I can't recall.
Well, obviously none of the puzzles in Silent Hill are really gonna be like fucking writing down like a couple pages on a notebook, for like 30 minutes,
I think the puzzle that got me the longest to do was when you see the other room with all the writings and stuff, and you have to push the wardrobe. I just didn't know how to push the wardrobe. So it took me a while to find that prompt. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this. Okay. Then I go into the room and have to figure out the actual combination, but that didn't take too long.
Damn, that's unfortunate. I can't really think of any in particular that like actually stick out as like difficult. Again, except the cube, the first time going.
Oh, I didn't like that. Oh god.
Jeez.
I want to stop dealing with these mutations. I don't like them.
You don't like the mutations?
I don't. I really don't.
We'll see if the audience does. What's next? Okay, so the big twist of James killing his wife. Like, I know you already knew going in, because I've been making my jokes as I've worked on this, but still, what's the take?
I didn't expect it the way it happened. Like, every time I hear, oh, he killed his wife, I thought, like, he brutally murdered her or something like that. But,
No.
to me, it seemed more, it was just a mercy kill. She didn't want to suffer anymore. and he made that hard decision for her, or not for her, but he made that hard decision to like honor her, um, and she didn't want to live in pain anymore, so he took it on himself, and then that guilt, I would assume, ate at him.
Yeah.
So I just didn't expect how he killed her.
So my take on it is that, yeah, even you, if I was in your shoes, I definitely think it's just unexpected, because that is a really personal way to kill someone, I think, just to go ahead and smother them. Now, obviously, we get the context in the hallway that it's terminal, so she's gonna die no matter what. But, you know, going through the town and seeing how James is somewhat receptive to Maria, and the nurses being as oogly boogly as they are, you know. So you can see James does, at the end, when he really tells Maria his version of why he did it, it is partially true. Like, yeah, part of it, I do generally think part of it was a mercy thing. Because Maria was fucking miserable. She wasn't living. She was just alive. Barely. You know? But at the same time, you know, he was, you know, probably just really tired and frustrated with it. And just wanting to do things, you know, especially sexually. He was definitely sexually frustrated. Again, nurses and Maria. You know, his ideal version of Mary. You see how he likes it. So I think it is just he is in a gray area. But especially getting the main leave ending where he does do what Mary did request and just go and live on, and especially taking Laura in. You know, so it's a nice sentiment at the end. But yeah, James is he's bastard.
Yeah, sadly.
You know what it feels like? Joel.
What? You said Joel?
Yeah, from Last of Us.
Mm-hmm. His
How Joel
selfish
feels.
decision.
But at the same time, was it really gonna work? Probably
We don't know.
not. But we don't know.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Until they make Last of Us 3, and Last of Us 3 is an alternate timeline where
he
Joel
goes into
actually
Silent
gave...
Hill. Oh.
No, where he actually gives them Ellie, and
Oh shit.
he doesn't kill the Fireflies.
Yeah.
And he lets that all play out, and somehow it does cure the world.
Oh
or
my
like
God.
maybe it, and like it's just The Last of Us 3 is something maybe catastrophic happens in that maybe she wasn't immune. Maybe she just had prolonged lasting effects, and now there's a different mutation of
Okay.
a different mutation, but like now they're like more unkillable, I would say.
Sony, I request that you
walkers.
send him royalties if you decide to use this plotline. Because this sounds pretty good, actually, as an alternative timeline. But okay. By the end, which character did you feel for or relate to the most?
Oh, obviously Angela.
Yeah. Oh, well, feel for Angela. Yeah, but relate.
Oh, relate. Oh, okay.
What? There's
Relate
both.
to-
I asked both.
Probably Eddie.
Eddie? Why?
I don't know. Like just guess both of us being fat, maybe
Yeah,
that's the most relating I could do. Because I really can't relate completely to any character, of course, but
yeah,
if I had to say anything, it would probably be Eddie.
yeah. Understandable. I mean, for me, it'd probably have to be Angela. That or I don't know. I think it would just have to be Angela for trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And beat his ass. Beat the going pink purple man. Oh. Someone would pay to have this happen to them. Okay. I got 3 main questions left. Okay, so which ending did you get? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but which ending did you get? And is there any other ending that you feel works better?
I got the ending where James and Laura walk out of the cemetery together to
Yeah.
the beyond.
Makes sense. That's the usual ending.
To be honest, I don't remember, or I didn't do any of the other endings, so I couldn't give you an answer on that second question.
Where I didn't know if you ever like just looked into it.
No, I haven't.
I haven't looked too much into it myself, so that's what I was kind of hoping you did. I mean, some of the in water ending is really fucking tragic, where James just ends up driving his car into the river.
How would you even get that ending?
I think it's just like looking at her picture and the knife, like Angela's knife that she gives you, and like other stuff, I think. And then of course the couple endings where you get Maria at the end is a interesting ending. And then the doggo ending, we love dogs.
Doggy.
Yeah. I think there's a UFO ending. I don't know what it is. But I don't think any of them really work as well as just the normal leave ending. But probably the second best I'd say is the in water ending. As sad as it is, it's the one that makes the second most sense. Are you excited for the next games in the series? Most specifically,
Yes, I've already wishlisted Silent Hill F.
Same.
Because Silent Hill F and Borderlands 4 come out in the same month. And
Wait, what did you say? Sorry, cut out.
Silent Hill F and Borderlands 4 come out in the same couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I have those games to look forward to.
Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to the Silent Hill F, and then there's the new Metal Gear Solid Delta coming out, so hopefully it's as good as it looks. And then
play Death Stranding. You just you don't have to play Silent Hill, or not Silent Hill, Metal Gear anymore.
I know I could play Death Stranding, but like I grew up with the series, man. I kind of have to play it.
Now grow up with Death Stranding.
I can't grow up with Death Stranding. I'm not fucking 12. Okay. So I got one last question. Are you curious about looking back on the series and playing through the other and older games? Because I know you're not really much of a old school gamer, but would you be curious to watch someone play the other games? Or even looking back at the original Silent Hill 2 out of curiosity?
If I'm being honest,
No.
probably not.
Makes sense. But explain reasoning.
Just because I enjoy Silent Hill 2, and I liked it, but like I'm just not really invested in the franchise like that. Because of course I don't have the attachment of growing up with it. With Borderlands 4, like I just mentioned, I grew up playing Borderlands 2, and then I recently played Borderlands 1 like a year ago, but I grew up playing Borderlands 2, and now I just have that attachment. So every time a new one comes out, I'm like, all right,
So
I'm
you're
gonna get it.
okay. So you're not really someone who like will enter the franchise and like look back, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gosh. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, at least I am. Well, as a Silent Hill fan, I'm very glad that you are at least invested in the new shit.
Yes, the new stuff I will definitely like give a try.
So that's good to hear. So I say it did its job, right? As a remake, I think it did its job well. All right.
Yeah.
So any other closing notes from you before I just go ahead and end off the recording?
That definitely I recommend the game to people who haven't played Silent Hill, and that if you're looking for a good psychological horror, that's a good one, and it makes you think. And that's really it. Just play the game, enjoy the story.
Alright. Well, y'all heard it, folks. We got a newbie in, and he's in for the ride to go on, so hey, I recommend it all the same. So obviously I'm sure if you walk in the street you've played the game before, but hey, for the one person who hasn't, go fucking buy it. I would say wait on sale, but look, it's worth the money. I genuinely think it's worth the money. Although I do have one main complaint, is that there's not much in the new Game Plus department, which really sucks. But there wasn't that much in the original. I just wish they had a couple other weapons or something. But besides that, game's great. You agree. Y'all agree. Guess that's the end of the video. Y'all have a good night, day, good morning. I don't know when you're watching this, but yeah. Have a good time. Stay safe out here. Don't open the doors for no random nobody. Free Palestine. Yeah. Love y'all. Goodbye for now. See y'all next time.